Hi, everybody, and welcome to Belonging Songs, your weekly podcast that brings you a brand new original song each episode, then talks about the themes of that song and the processes that went into writing and recording it. I am your host, Wade Dana. With me, as always, my good buddies, Patrick Crane,
Hello.
Brad Maurer.
How you doing?
We're back.
That was a very cool how you doing, by the way.
Was
like,
it?
I'd hang out with you in high school.
I'm leaning back in the chair. I got no stress.
Uh,
What episode is this? 15?
14.
14.
Good God.
We're doing it.
We're
Thanks
gonna need
for,
to-
I mean, if you're still, by some stretch of the imagination, still listening to this thing and kicking it on, God bless your heart.
Yeah, shoot
Thank
us
you.
an email.
Thank
We'll send you 10
Thank you
CDs.
so much. I will give you a t-shirt.
They'll
It
be
has
the
nothing-
same CD.
it has nothing to do with the podcast, but I will just mail you one of my shirts.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can have it.
You know what? I've got some socks I don't wear anymore.
It's great. No, it's the ones you want. You're going to give away.
We're going to have to dry erase that board pretty soon, I realize.
the board's got to die.
We're to the point where we need to redo it.
Honestly, though, just we're putting this out there. 14 episodes. If you are, by some stretch of the imagination, and you've been hanging in there and you've been listening to all of them, we're hopefully improving as each episode goes on. But sincere thank you for
Absolutely.
dialing in and just giving us a half hour of your time. How valuable that may or may not be to you. It's really valuable to us.
We love hearing from you. We're glad you're here. This has been just a ton of fun.
Mhm.
And this is a pretty big milestone episode for us because while you are listening in the future,
In the future!
we are ready to go live with our very first episode
2
in
days. Yep.
2 days. So,
This is kind of our little launch party right now.
yeah.
We're getting together,
We may or may not be drinking Woodford.
right?
There's a chance.
But seriously,
There may be a second one after this episode,
Yeah,
but
there's-
welcome everybody. Hopefully, even though it may be small, hopefully we've created a community that you feel part of.
Mhm.
That's all we're aiming for, is to spend a little time with each other, and hopefully you're tuning in. And let's shit on Brad's song.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
so Brad, tell us a little bit about the song you're bringing to us this week.
It's called Gun to My Head.
Yeah, so real pick me
we're
up.
starting on a high.
Yeah.
But it, metaphorically sat in the closet for a long time. I think the last date on it was from 2014.
And we really are trying to write new stuff for you, but we just have this vast catalog of music that we never finished. That
This one
This
came
is
by
what we're doing.
on
We're
accident.
trying to get it
Remember,
done.
I was sitting over here the other day, probably 2 weeks ago, maybe.
yeah, we're stressing out about this podcast launch, and we're
Yeah.
like, we're gonna do this every week. We need stuff, so we went through our old hard drives.
Yeah, and I kind of completely forgot about this due to my history. Everything I have is backed up on his computer as well. So he
Made sure to get there. And
To be fair,
so he's going down and we're going through it, and I was like, oh, that's a song I don't hate, I don't think. And so he pulls it up, and it's really simple. There might be, I messed with it a little bit this morning. I think there's 12 tracks on it completely, and a lot of it's layered. And we listened to it, and Wade had a reaction to it, and I was like, well, maybe that's worth playing then.
a positive one.
Yeah, a positive one.
Brad
So-
was unsure about even using it at all for anything, and I said, "This is almost a done song, and I like it." So
So we said, well, let's just make that a show, and we put it on the list, and here we are. Recording it was a real short, sweet little session. I think, like, I'm not gonna lie, it was like 3 hours, and you'll be able to tell why. It's like,
So-
3 hours. It's kind of
So
a long
this is
time.
an episode that we'll be talking about the song and figuring out if it needs any work, and if it's done, I'll mix it and then we'll revisit it. But
You want to hear it over there?
I wouldn't mind giving it a listen.
That's Wade.
Gun to my head.
all right,
Can
here we
you
go.
hear the wink?
Yeah.
Right, here's
Anyway,
fine.
if you're smiling, this will take care of that.
All right, here we go.
control, I'm alright. I'll be better with time. I'm just sick of, come on. I'm sick of the monsters under my bed. Keeping me up at night, saying things that aren't true. Well, I'm better off without. Yes, I'm better off without. Let me get this straight. One and one for you. Easy to. There are different rules for you. I sincerely don't mind being one of a kind, but I'm sick of the gun. Yes, I'm sick of the gun to my head.
First things first, the mix you guys heard, it's not what I did this morning. I fixed it a little bit, but that's
Yeah, there's
fine.
some-
I had a little technical, Lord knows I'm not the technical guy in the fucking group, okay? But you heard a good version, good enough version to get a feel. So, Patrick, what was your feel?
Feel is, God damn it, you wrote another song I like.
Good.
What I do think is in conflict, and this may be fixed on the mix, I think the fuzz is too heavy on the rhythm for the vibe I get from the lyrics.
Right.
And that might be able to be fixed in post-production.
What I did, which I don't think translated very well, is I did some panning.
Uh-huh.
So like I had the first big one, and then there was a whole muted track that I brought back in, but I panned it to one side, and it sounded really nice because it made it kind of dynamic.
So what's happening here is Brad didn't bring the file that he worked on this morning.
Correct.
We have
Yeah,
this MP3 version
IT Brad,
that we listen to.
which could be another stage name for you.
So what we're trying to say is I ruined the show. I fucking ruined
Again,
the show.
welcome to my entire work life.
But anyway, there's not a lot of parts there anyway. So there was a little bit of thickness, a little bit of dynamics. It probably wasn't too different than what you heard. It was real subtle.
Oh man, I really like this song. I do think it needs to be stripped down because the lyrics are bare and the tone of the song needs to be that. And I'm not saying no effects.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying it's a little too much. In fact, I
This
hear
song does remind me of No Effects.
well, yeah, a little bit.
Not me.
I'm actually hearing a little boss
It
tones
reminds
in
me.
here.
It reminds me of Rex and Effects.
Yeah,
actually, but-
It's like Rex and Effects meets the Mighty Mighty Boss
Right,
Tones.
it's-
So it's interesting that you say stripped down because this song's pretty darn stripped
Well,
down.
I think stripped down's the wrong word. Because you're right. It's simple as far as tracks and
just-
guitar parts. It's too
It's
processed.
stepping on itself.
It's stepping on
Yeah,
itself.
and the way it was recorded, it was really simple. It was just a mic next to an amp, and everything. If you look at the wave on that thing, like it clips, not on that, but on the actual file, like the
Yeah, you can hear during your solo there's a massive clipping going on.
Yeah, but-
and I think that might be a result of the file we have here,
Could be.
or it could be the
Brad,
recording.
what
We'll
file
look
did you
at-
bring us today?
I brought an MP3.
Okay.
I took it. Well, hang on a minute. I thought I had everything on the hard drive.
Yeah.
I put everything on the hard drive. I carry a Glyph 1 terabyte hard drive, beautiful hard drive, solid state.
Yeah,
It's
I'd
very
like to
nice.
address this hard drive, and if we could get a raffle going with the BSers and Patrick about how long do we think that this thing is going to make it.
Oh, well, I think the hard drive.
Should we set a date? Should we do like a lottery for like whoever is
I've
closest
been
to it
backing
dying,
up.
they win a prize?
You
Yeah,
gotta lose two.
I'm gonna
You
say
gotta lose
I'm gonna,
two.
I'm gonna say Independence Day 2020. This thing's lost half its
Over
files.
it's in the pond. My fucking dog's gonna take it or something. Like,
And you could win 10 of the same CDs that we're trying to get rid of
right? Yes.
because they're no good.
If you guess that very easy prediction, you will get 10 CDs that have.
Meatballs and Beyond pre-mix CDs.
One of which will
right.
be autographed by our wives.
Tell you what, the graphic design on that is
Pretty
And
tight.
pretty good.
Pretty
Pretty good. What
tight.
is that? Clip art?
pretty much.
Microsoft
Pretty,
Paint?
it's pretty tight.
Yeah.
Don't pull the cards out and just show them to everybody. God damn
Let's
it!
get back to
That
I know
thing
your
is-
moves.
There's people
Let's
out
get technical.
There, there's people out there wondering where the fuck how he's doing that.
Back to the music.
Yes.
I do want to talk about Microsoft Paint later. Lyrically, again, you got good shit in here. Monsters in my bed, keeping me up at night. Those are good lyrics. That whole bit.
I really like I'm Better Off Without You. That line hits.
Yep.
And then this whole next thing after it. So let me get this straight. 1 and 1 for you. It isn't 2, question mark. There are different rules for you, question mark. I think that's just cool wordplay.
I agree. Brad's good at that.
Mm-hmm.
Solo I really like on this song.
You would like it better if you had the fucking real mix.
Well,
God damn it, me!
maybe, but I think the solo captures what my mindset is on this song.
Mhm.
It's not flashy. It's not a bunch of triplets. Carries the song through. Keeps the mood of the song. And then I do hear a little bit of slide guitar accenting the song a little bit. But let's be honest. Any kind of slowed down song like this, I always want to hear slide guitar because
Right.
apparently I'm bluegrass.
That's interesting that you say that because this song, to me, I just picture the protagonist in an empty, like, hay barn
Yep.
Right.
on a stage by themselves.
Yeah.
Barn's empty, like a weird David Lynch scene.
Right.
Like,
that's the vision.
Somebody in the corner moving some hay through the whole video, and that's all that's happening.
That's the vision I get, and that's always been the feeling I got from it, and that's why I like the oversaturated guitar sound.
Yeah.
It's real thick. It's kind
Yeah.
of fucked
So-
up, like it's plugged into
yeah.
bad power.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
And it might have been. It was at my old house, which is a fucking mess.
There's a generator behind the porta
You know,
potty at
yeah,
this barn
exactly.
or whatever,
And, when I recorded it, I honestly, I have no idea how I got that sound, because I like that sound.
And
I
that
have,
sounds probably committed. It's probably an affected track, right?
yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
Like-
it's done. It's over. Yeah,
like,
it
it's
was
not
it was
a-
pre-pedal board. Like I had
Yeah,
like
it's not
two
a
pedals
plug-in or
and-
or
Magical
something that-
moment.
Yeah, and exactly, and it was just everything kind of worked together at the same time to create a sound, and that is actually. I was playing the guitar and I heard that sound. I was like, "Oh, I gotta put this down." And I just played it.
Yep.
And
I have
that
some thoughts about kind of what Patrick was speaking to and what you're talking to now. And that was, if I were to mix this song right now, I think it'd be a really challenging song to keep that feel because I love the feel of this song. And
Absolutely.
I'm listening to it and I'm thinking like, oh, like drums would be cool, but then I'm like, no, I don't think they would be.
Yeah,
And
I
like you
agree with
mentioned
that.
slide guitar, and I'm like, my first reaction when we listened to the song, it was like a couple weeks ago when we were searching for songs to bring to the podcast. I was kind of like, it's done.
Yeah.
This is pretty close to done. And I listened to it now and I'm like, yeah, it needs a little
Some
finessing,
mixing.
Yep.
Yeah.
but it's going to be one of those very fine lines to ride to not fuck it up.
I don't think you want to make it sound like there's another person in the room.
Yeah, because
Right.
Yeah, and another melody would do that. The way I mixed it, it was the exact same guitar part, but different mic placement. It sounded completely different.
Right.
And so I just brought it in and took it out, and that's all it was.
And I kind of disagree with you, Patrick, about stripping it down even more. I kind of like the raucous
Mess.
feel, the mess of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. This voice kind of projecting through that.
yeah. I'd like to hear it another time,
Yeah.
especially hearing Brad talk about it. I don't know, might double down and really piss you off.
I'm not pissed. I mean, that's one of those things where, like, if you were sitting in the room when I was writing it, that probably could have ended up 600 different ways.
It's funny that
Oh, I
this
would
one-
have
It could have gotten huge. It could have, it could have gotten smaller.
I don't think it can though. I don't think it can get huge. This song doesn't want to be.
But it could have
huge.
started really.
it's in a
really
contained area.
Yeah.
like, but it's like huge in that contained area.
Yep.
That's why the barn analogy,
Yes.
really I think fits it. It's in this empty space, but the space is contained. But
Huge.
so it's almost like a voice crying out inside.
Yep. I
Somebody.
had the same thing, but I pictured like a gym. Like a guy on a stage.
That's just stupid.
yeah.
know.
Yeah. Can we talk about your vision of
plays
the
in a
song
gym?
being fucking dumb?
Right.
in a barn.
To quote a very wise man about this song,
Guy.
that's a
just
song I don't
stu- oh,
hate.
that's
I don't think.
What's that? Quote a very wise man. Anyway.
Another note I had 100%
Pure adrenaline.
Brad M. solo.
Oh.
But then I wrote Joseph because Bradley Joseph.
Yeah.
well, you corrected it.
That was-
Branding.
That's a
Hashtag
very
branding.
Brad Mauer Bradley Joseph solo. I mean, and this whole video could be. This is your new launching pad for your moniker, Bradley Joseph.
Could be.
Oh, it is. This is gonna be big.
Here we
Acoustic
go.
guitar slung over your back. You're in the barn.
Are the BSers ready
Yeah.
for this shit?
No.
Are you guys all? I hope you're in cars and sitting down.
I'm
this-
seeing flannel with 2 buttons.
Oh yeah.
yeah. Probably buttoned crooked though, right?
Don't shave for a couple days either.
No, yeah, that'll happen. That's
I can
easy.
tell this is your guitar just by listening to that
No,
solo.
you're incorrect.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, this is your aria.
that's right. Which I don't have anymore, which is a
She gone.
very regrettable thing.
What
Like-
happened there?
I sold it because I thought when
Drugs?
you bought,
Were you in trouble with
no.
drugs?
No, here's how
Gambling?
here's how I used to operate, Patrick.
Yeah.
If you need something else, you get rid of the thing you have to get
That's
something else.
ridiculous.
I operate
I
on
think
a,
you just wrote a lyric.
I used to operate on a vehicle scenario. Like
Yeah.
I
You
just
have a
had
car.
one.
I have a car, but
Yeah.
I need to get a new car. I
Right.
gotta sell my old car. I can't
Yeah.
have 2 cars. I got a small
Yeah.
driveway.
I've seen Pawn Stars.
Yeah. So I operated on that. So I was wanting to buy another guitar. So I sold the Aria to get money to buy the new guitar, which don't ever do that.
No.
If you're out there, don't fucking
Wait.
do that.
So what guitar is this?
The one I sold?
Yeah.
That was for editing purpose, so I don't sound stupid later when I was like, "This is your." I could tell this is your guitar.
Right. No, it's an Aria. The one I played it on is an Aria Pro 2. They made a couple models of them, and the one I had like 8 switches on it. It was almost like a Jazzmaster kind of setup. That's my next guitar. I'm gonna sell something.
I was
I'm gonna
just
sell
like-
my Les Paul and get a
Sell your
Jazzmaster.
car.
I was just looking at Jazz Masters today.
I think I'm buying a
actually.
Jazzmaster, but I'm not gonna sell anything
we
to
both,
buy the
we both
Jazzmaster.
have these big gear regrets. Don't
Yes.
sell your shit.
Don't sell your
people.
shit. Nobody sell your shit.
We've
Don't
talked about
sell
this
gear.
episodes before. Your first guitars are going to be the ones you love.
Yeah.
Well, no, yeah, but that wasn't a first. That was like a weird buy. Like I saw it and I liked it, and I was like, I might try this.
It
And
was
then
cool.
I played it live. I played it when we played out for a bunch. I would tune it down, and that was my guitar I played when we played something else, and I loved it. But I fell out of love with it. I stopped playing it. The weird quirks that I miss about it were starting to drive me bananas, so I sold it.
Why are you looking at me in the eye when you're talking about this stuff? Are we having relationship problems right now?
No, because your fucking quirks that used to drive me crazy. I love them. God damn it. No, but the weird shit
Did we just get into string theory?
that like
I think we did. Wait, you're watching Big Bang Theory? I don't want Chuck Lorre to follow us. Wait, Chuck Lorre, please follow us, like and subscribe.
I'm working on our laugh track for the podcast.
But anyway, I sold it.
Yeah.
Regretted it like a month later, but whatever. It's gone. What did I get
Don't
instead
even
of
remember.
it? No, it was before my Riviera. I think I had intentions to buy another guitar, and then I didn't. And then actually, you know what happened is a bunch of stuff happened in life.
as it does.
And then I wasn't really focused on buying an instrument for a while. And then when everything settled back down, that's when I bought that Epiphone Riviera.
I sold my Gibson Artist.
Yeah, you've wanted it back ever
Do
since.
I know what I got when I sold it?
Or why
What I
you
do with the
sold
money?
it?
I have no idea.
You have no idea. No idea.
Gambling.
So anyway, I played that song entirely on that guitar.
Mm-hmm.
It was on the Sun concert lead
Okay.
amp, which was a half stack, which I think part of the sound is that thing, because I was fucking around. I was trying to figure out like the boost and the distortion, and there's not a lot of settings on that thing, but it's a half stack and the volume is super sensitive. So like on a half, I was blowing the joint out. Like I was shaking windows,
Yeah.
So I had it up to like a half plus a little bit. I think it was just my Boss DS2 and the compressor.
Yeah, the compressor.
The compressor,
Hashtag compressor.
Under compression.
the compressor / sustain pedal that Boss makes. It was two little simple pedals that I put together.
I mean, the song is like this simple.
Yeah.
Of course, the setup would be that simple.
And it was probably, I think, another part of the sound. It was pre me using any mic that was worth a shit. So it was a really shitty microphone, which was probably part of it. And so like that whole perfect storm is what created that guitar sound. That's another one where like if you were like, hey, I want to re-record this, I'd be like
It,
Nah.
it sounds
Try,
like
you wouldn't catch
you're in an audience, like you're
it's
removed
very big.
far away, looking at this from a distance is what it sounds like, and it works.
Yeah, I
And
want to maintain that.
It'll be interesting for me to get a hold of it to mix it to try and keep that while bringing the best elements out.
Yeah.
You want to listen to it again? You said
I do want to
Let's
listen
do
to it
that
again.
and then get some
quick review
secondary
of it.
thoughts.
This fucking mix. God damn it. Could be better. Sorry.
So I really like this song a lot. And a vocal in a heavily distorted guitar does not seem like the thing I would be into,
Yeah, I agree with that.
Not at all.
but I really like this. I like the conversational nature the lyrics are delivered in. Like you give these half lines like, I'm just sick of the mon. I'm better off without. You're having this conversation in your head and being interrupted by somebody you're having it or arguing with, and then you have to finish your thought when you come back to it. I don't know. It just
Yeah, it's
it
good
works.
perspective. I think it does work. Lyrically, this song works incredibly well.
I love the way that everything just seems to work. It fades in. It has this weird like
Yeah,
rumbly
that-
fade in, and it's just like I see the whole video, and it's like just fading in from black to the picture. Like,
Yeah.
and it just does that.
Well,
Go ahead. I'm more interested in what you have to say than what I have to say.
Oh, I was just going to build off what Wade was saying, and that's that with the image we have in our head of this guy in a empty space, it does sound like he's plugged in and he's turning up the volume.
Yeah. I picture him just walking up and just physically turning his guitar up,
I
and
mean,
it's got a little sound
it's
behind
like
it.
like the intro to Back to the Future.
Exactly.
It's a lot
He
like
blows
the intro
himself
to
off
Beth,
his
the clocks part.
Right. Lyrically, it comes from a frustrating kind of place. Obviously, you could probably tell what it's about.
Well, I like how the guitar starts out in this minor key, and then it gets this major boost. Oh, I've got this thought, and I'm going to tell you, but then it goes back down. I had it. You know, I was really going to tell you what I thought.
and then you
but
bring it back down and tell him. Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Something's clicking in the rawness, the raw nature of this song. It's
That's
Oh, wait,
that's
it's
what
Do
I
you want to talk about rawness for a bit?
that's what I liked about it after I got it done. Again, like it took a couple hours is all because I just sat down and played it. But when I got done with it, I was like, well, there's not much else I want to do to that because the same picture was in my head. It's just like very simple. A guy walks into a place, he plays the song, he puts his guitar down, and he leaves.
Yeah, this is really funny too because this was a really easy song. You say you came in, you recorded it, you had the idea, it was boom, done, next. We've talked about it for quite a while now, and we've had episodes recently, like one of my songs where I spent a month working on the song.
What an asshole I am.
And there's not much, like, there's not a lot to say about it. That just speaks to, like, how well this song is clicking.
Yeah.
Like, on a very basic level, but effective one. It's really clicking down to its roots. And I'm almost afraid to get a hold of this one because I don't want to fuck it up.
Well, I'll give you a version where I think it's quote unquote done, and then, maybe at a future episode or whatever, we can update this one and you can just tell me
So
if it's done
for
or
me,
not.
I think that this is done and ready to finish up.
Yeah.
Patrick, I want to hear where you're at because you had reservations about it.
The only reservation I have is on the level of fuzz in the guitar. It's been helpful to hear the perspective of why that is.
But everybody doesn't get that option. I think you have to judge the song based on...
No, I don't
Think of this song in context on an album, too. This would be, like, tucked away somewhere.
Yep. This would
Like-
be like a track 7.
Really a break or, like, this moment of solitude.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's funny
And,
that you said that because the second time through, I'm like, oh, this is a late middle track.
And I don't think that fuzz can be removed because of the way it was recorded, and trying to recapture that, I think, would be tough. I mean, you could try it.
So Wade, why even asking the question then? You're telling me
No.
it's
no.
Boom Next done.
No, you're
The-
you're what's in your mind.
Yeah, no, I will say I got a much deeper appreciation for it the second time through. Yeah, and as we've discussed in previous episodes, a lot of time I hear things in my head, and when they actually come to fruition, I regret that.
I'll tell you what we can do about that fuzz, though. We could tame it a bit. We could.
No.
With some compression and stuff.
Again, there's 3 guitars.
Okay, so
levels.
there's a blend going on, so we probably
and,
could.
Well, and there's supposed to be some dynamic blending where one comes in to thicken something up and then
oh, see, I didn't
drops
even notice.
out. You
It
did
seemed
no,
like one
you
the
did
whole way.
because the fucking asshole brought over the wrong shit. But you will.
Okay.
So, like I said, maybe we'll
Aside
update this.
from that, then, I think
Aside from that, it's a
I
perfect
say
song.
we finish it
Yeah.
up and listen to it again
Finish
here.
it. Is it just the blend? Because I was trying to figure that out too. Because I did. I
Could be
tried.
the-
I
could
think
be
I
the
tried at
blend.
one point to recapture it and finish it. And honestly, the end, where I kind of get into a higher register and sing the "I sincerely don't mind being one of a kind" again. That was just like I chucked it in. Like it sat there without that part.
No, I
For
that,
a
that
while,
part's great.
and then I chucked it in to finish it, and it sat. That's where it sat for a long time.
I want to talk about me for a second.
Okay,
This episode's about me.
absolutely.
This is one of the things that I'm so hungry to learn the tools of the trade, because I would love to play with this myself and see what I came up with. I have this vision in my head.
Play with himself. He wants to play with himself. No, fuck it.
Sorry.
Wade was giggling like a child.
Oh,
And it was really hard not to bust into Hungry Eyes there.
could you?
Hungry Eyes. Okay. I'm sorry.
We've ruined the episode.
Yes, this is
Mostly because
This
I
is-
talked about playing with myself.
song.
That's on the editing room floor. Pick up where you left off.
this might be a good
Not you, you
opportunity
fucking idiot. Patrick.
for us.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I bit off his arm. I didn't mean to.
I would like to know more about the technical end of things, which is one of the things I'm learning from this, because I would love to be able to manipulate a simple song like this to what I hear in my head and see if it works.
I think it might be a fun exercise for us to get together here and
Why
work
don't we
on
do
this
it
mix
next?
together.
We do it today.
Because you didn't bring the file.
It's on there. Isn't it on there?
No, it's not on there, or else we'd be using it.
I don't. That's
Oh my
accurate.
god! Back to Hungry Eyes.
Right.
We can edit that out too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I think that would
We'll
be really
highlight.
fun. And then, so what we're going to do is mix this song together. But
I think-
first, we're
I
going to
think the
get
three
into
of
our
us should
little,
mix it
little
together.
time spaceship, crank it up to the future.
To the future.
Set course. Welcome back, BSers, to the future.
Who you sending a text message to there, buddy?
I was setting my camera up so I could put it on this empty fucking pod stand here.
We got our video going, so maybe we'll have some video of this episode up on Instagram at some point. Gun to my head. A song by Brad.
All right, see you next week.
Yep, thank you for listening. All right, we were just talking about, before the break here, what were we talking about? Patrick, you said this was a hard song to critique in the first place.
Yeah, this was a very difficult song to critique. The beauty of this song, as we discussed earlier in this episode, is that it's so simple and it's so lonely.
Guess what else was difficult about this song?
Mixing it, I
Yeah.
imagine. We were talking before we started recording this episode, a conversation we probably should have been recording because it's hard to capture moments like this and it's hard to fix them.
Yep. So as I got into mixing this, I thought to myself many times, Brad should just re-record this song. But I get it. The vibe of the song really was working. He's shaking his head no right now.
Because I tried.
Okay.
We mentioned it, and if I'm repeating myself, cut this part out. But the part of the guitar sound, it was that Aria Pro 2,
Very
and it was, I don't know
distorted.
what it was. You probably had a hard time with the guitar sounds, right?
So I spent a lot of time, and this is the fault of mine when I went to mix this. I immediately started to concentrate on that guitar. I was like, I got to tame this. I got to work on this.
It's not what I wanted.
No.
No, well, here's the mistake. I spent so much time working on that, getting it where I wanted. Then I brought the vocals in,
Mm-hmm.
and they just weren't sitting right. And I spent hours mixing the song, and it just wasn't working. And I had to tear it all down. I had to start with the vocal. That's what I should have been doing. And once I did that and made that change, stripped down everything I did, brought the vocal up first, and then snuck the guitar under there, and then it started to work.
Yeah, because the guitar, it's supposed to sound like there's 1,000 guitars recorded, and
Yep.
it's just this thick atmosphere.
So when we originally listened to this, you intended to bring us a different file.
I did.
That you
I-
had
I
done some
fucked it
more
all up.
arranging on.
Yeah, well, I did some panning and some
Mhm.
It was panning and bringing in and bringing out.
So that's the file that I got, the arranged version
Yeah.
to mix.
Yeah.
And I even did more cutting out of that. You had this song's basically 3 guitar tracks and 2 vocal tracks,
Mhm.
or 4 vocal tracks.
something like that.
2 main
yeah.
vocals and 2
2
background
background,
vocals. In that third guitar is the one that you were kind of dropping in and out when you were
Mhm.
arranging. And I took it out even more and just left it in on these certain parts, which you'll see. It's a super simple song, but it was a tough one to tackle in a mix. And I guess we'll see if I was able to carry that feeling over.
That's interesting because I was like, oh, that's going to be a no-brainer for that'll be a simple one. It'll be done in a half hour.
In the BSers know, just a couple minutes ago, we had mentioned we are probably going to get together and work on this mix together, the 3 of us. I mean, we said that months ago,
Yeah.
but they just heard it
Yeah.
minutes ago.
Yeah.
It didn't end up happening,
We're
and I'm
liars.
actually
What?
glad. I'm glad that you guys didn't come over for this one because it was just a tough one to work on.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have gotten a lot out of most of it because things just weren't working.
Simple's
for a
hard.
while.
I think simple is hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's about what's not there.
Yeah.
When I hear this song, particularly after we talked about it following our first listen, the image I have is a single microphone at the very back of a hall. You're, 100 yards away from it. So trying to capture that sound of your vocals and these 2 guitar tracks are picked up in the same central part. I'm kind of curious to hear what you did with it because in my
Is that how
mind,
you recorded it? Because it kind of sounds like that.
It was the mic was away on one of them,
Yeah.
and
I mean, do you still have the microphone you used on this? Because
I don't know.
it sounds like a really horrible
Probably
microphone.
is. Probably is.
It's the best
And I just
PC.
want to make sure we
Yeah.
don't use it.
No, I think
anymore.
I think that was part of it. Like I used to have a broken piece of shit, had a big Axl Rose sponge on it because the head fell off, right? And so like
broken stand.
I don't know what I
gotta put a
probably used
broken
a
stand in.
box. I didn't have stands when
Yeah.
when I recorded this song. What I ended up liking about the sound was like the guitar ended up being like this animal that you couldn't control.
Right.
Like it was kind of wild and on its own, and you had to like bring this vocal into it and let it ride this kind of thing that was really hard to control. And I ended up really liking that about the song.
Cool.
And especially when we went back and listened to it, because I had killed it and then I played it for you, right?
Yeah.
So, and then you were like, "Oh, that's actually really good."
Yeah.
And then I listened to it a lot more, and it was about this thing's,
About the feeling.
yeah, just the
All right.
vibe of it. And
Yeah,
Well,
let's hear
see.
it.
Let's see how I did. Here we go. Gun to my head.
I sincerely don't mind being one of a kind, but I'm sick of the gun. Yes, I'm sick of the gun to my head. Tell the girl I'm alright. I'll be better with time. I'm just sick of the moan. I'm sick of the monsters under my bed, keeping me up at night, saying things that aren't true. Well, I'm better off without. Yes, I'm better off without you. So let me get this straight. 1 and 1 for you. It isn't 2. There are different rules for you. I sincerely don't mind being one of a kind, but I'm sick of the gun. Yes, I'm sick of the gun to my head.
Hey, Brad, what do you think?
I need you to go first. I need time to digest. I think I need time to digest when my
gotta
songs are. Huh?
He's got to poop.
No, I'm good. Go ahead.
You killed it with the guitar. The guitar is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice job. Yeah, as we spent 10 minutes talking about, it's really hard to keep that sound. I still think the vocals are a touch hot in most
sibilant.
spots.
They're very sibilant.
Yeah.
And the microphone gives them a really hollow
Right.
feel, which is hard to combat because it was captured that way.
Yeah, I can definitely hear that too. Where it does work really well, there's something about the mix that really perked my ears up in the I'm Better Off Without You second verse thing. Something really came together there where I just thought it sounded, wait for it, perfect. Yeah, other than the vocals, a couple parts get a little piercing almost. It's great.
Bradley.
It's hard for me to be objective because I didn't have a lot of respect for the song to begin with. So, you know what I mean? Like, as my version, right? When I brought it in here, I didn't have a whole lot of respect for
Now
it.
have even less.
No, I don't. It sounds different. And it's hard for me to figure out if I like it better or not
Does
after
it feel
just sitting
different?
here and listening one time. It sounds, my gut tells me that it sounds thinner, which I don't know if I like that or not.
Do you think this is one of those songs that you put on a B-side or whatever because it's supposed to live as a demo track?
It might be like I think what I liked about the version as I gave it to you was the messiness of it. Like
It's almost as if we should have gotten together
and
Mixed
it.
it. We wouldn't
it
have liked that
probably-
anyway. This really wasn't the
No.
song to get together and mix.
Let's just get down to brass tacks. We would have quote unquote got together to mix it and got hammered on whiskey, and then not mixed anything, and that would have been it. But
No, but I think we could still work on this.
I think
and get it
we might
more
want
to where you want it.
Yeah,
You might kill it though.
I don't know. I don't not like
Well,
it.
you're not happy with it now.
I don't.
you know.
I'm not happy. I just don't know that.
I'm not happy.
I'm not squared happy. It's just different. You know, I sometimes I think that when they're simple, you don't want to tinker too much with them. And you tinkered with it. It's too early for me to tell if I like it better or not.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't.
Yeah, I didn't tinker a ton with it.
You didn't. I
there
agree.
wasn't
I
a ton
agree.
to
Where I
do.
think I do like the vocals a little bit closer. I want them at odds with the guitar a little bit.
Muddy
Yeah,
almost.
I want the whole thing kind of like Jack White always used to talk about when he was playing live. He really got into his groove and shit just got out of hand. And that's kind of not that it's anywhere near White Stripey or anything like that, but it's kind of like the tone where it's just like the messiness was it's kind of like its virtue, and I kind of want to make it still feel a little messy and dirty, and like the fucked up microphone was all I recorded. I don't remember what I had, but
Well, I mean, that's still there.
yeah, no, but
Can't polish a turd.
you can't. Exactly right. I think that's exactly right. And so, like, if you try to polish a turd, it sounds like you're trying to polish a turd.
What does
So,
that sound like?
But you might just have to leave that fucked up mic blended in with the fucked up guitar and not try to polish it too much. I think that's what I'm struggling with right now a little bit. Is like, did we try to do too much with it?
I think listening to this, because I haven't listened to it in a while. I mixed it and then was working on a bunch of other stuff. So it's been over a week, maybe 2 weeks since I mixed this. So this is my first time hearing it. And the background vocals panned out wider. I think I would rather just put them all in the center.
Right.
That was another thing I noticed. Is I think I would like central.
Maybe
Just
at the
thick.
end they could go out
Yeah.
a little fan out like that,
Yeah.
because that's where, Patrick, you said you noticed them.
Right.
But I think at the beginning, maybe those either cut them out or put them back in the middle. And I
Yeah.
think that would help the polished sound, because
Yeah.
that sounds more like a produced technique
Right.
or something.
Yeah.
And then maybe we bring that vocal down a little bit more.
Yeah.
And
Everything else, I like what you did with dropping out the guitars and playing with those as far as like,
And maybe I will like roll back the high pass filter a little bit, get some of that dirtiness back in
yeah,
there.
that's what I think it misses. Cause it does sound the first thing after
Or it could be a case of taking that third guitar out a lot. Maybe we put that back in and just tuck it down.
I did notice when it didn't come back in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I liked it. Like I had the intro part, and then I brought it in, and it was just kind of like this thick dirt. And I liked the thick dirt.
I
It
pretty
sounded-
much
that's
think
why
I
I think
have
it
it
sounded-
just on the
end.
very ends. of
Yeah,
all
that's
the
why I think it
verses.
sounded a little bit thinner,
Mhm.
and I like it really thick. But it's good. It's still great. It's like really good. I just like I'm at odds with which one I like better, what sound I like better. I think somewhere in between the version I brought you and what you did here
Okay.
is probably the right version.
Yeah, it's funny. When I first heard this song, I thought it needed more, and I
Mhm.
was wrong. Let's just put that out there. I was dead wrong, because now when I hear it more polished,
Want
I-
to roll it back a little?
I do. I want to roll it back. So you had the original vision.
Yeah.
I was wrong, Brad. I'm sorry.
Like I said, I didn't think this song had any potential to ever be heard anyway. So
And it's funny that we're gonna have to revisit this again.
well, yeah, or we just say right now we're going to, and then it'll be different when you listen to it finally.
No, I think let's revisit it and remix it, and we'll listen to it again.
Okay, I'm with it.
Let's get in the time machine. Set course. So we're back, and we were just trying to figure out how many times we've recorded on this song because, like we've alluded to in the past, we've got multiple episodes always going.
Somebody send us an email.
Because
If a BSer out there knows what the fuck we're
Let
doing,
us know what the fuck's going on because we lost.
we did an initial listen to this, then I mixed it, and then we decided that needed some work. Then I remixed it, but then I sent it to Brad. And since then, we've decided that Brad's going to listen to his songs when I remix them because he needs some time.
I need
process them.
digestive time. Yep.
And since I sent him a revised mix, he thought about it. And we actually sat down today before we started recording this episode and remixed the song together. Not remixed it, but just revised it and got it to where Brad was happy with
Yeah,
it.
it was very small detail
Yeah.
stuff that we did to it.
Yep. So there
And
was
I
just a
think
couple
cleaned up-
minor issues.
Cleaned up a couple things that were just bothering me about it.
how do we
Should be
feel
it.
about the outro?
Probably needs more. Trying to think of the outro on this song. Oh
There-
yeah,
there-
yeah. We could double down. We could double down.
Let's
on
let's
outro.
listen to this bad boy again.
Yeah.
You want to just
love
jump
to do
right in?
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's jump right in.
Can you just go right to the outro?
Got into my head. Version
Gotta wait forever.
3.
I sincerely don't mind being one of a kind, but I'm sick of the gun. Yes, I'm sick of the gun to my head. Tell the girl I'm alright. I'll be better with time. I'm just sick of the moan. I'm sick of the monsters under my bed. that aren't true. Well, I'm better off without. Yes, I'm better off without you. So let me get this straight. 1 and 1 for you. It isn't 2. There are different rules for you. I sincerely don't mind being one of a kind, but I'm sick of the gun. Yes, I'm sick of the gun to my head.
I like it.
Brad, you had mentioned while we were mixing this together, you think the vocals are too hot, and I agree with you. I think
Yeah,
I think they are.
The S's come
And
out a little harsh.
so. I've got vocals down in DS.
Yep.
That's all. That's what this mix needs.
I think,
Yeah.
think that's it. Right.
Yep.
That was
So
that
you
was
were right.
the other thing I was debating.
Mm-hmm.
But I think musically, instrumentally,
And that's a really minor fix, so we're not gonna like revisit this song again
no,
in this episode.
no, they won't. Nobody will
Yeah,
notice.
it just needs to be
it's
softened
just-
up.
Yep.
Yep.
It just bites you.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So you were right. I admit.
And you get that on tape?
Are we recording? I don't know. They mute me.
I stopped. I did stop. No,
No, that's
we are going again.
I agree. I was going to comment on that. Like
Yep.
I actually with headphones, I think they are a little
Yep.
hot.
Yep.
But other than that, I think all the little things we did today took care of any.
So
little
let's talk
issues
about
I
the things that
had.
we did.
Yeah.
Well, let's get technical a little bit. So the initial mix. You're joshing me. Coming soon. What's that song called?
Ducks on the pond.
Ducks on the pond. All right, look out for that.
Your kids will
BSers.
love it.
Coming soon.
Yeah.
From Meatballs and Beyond. So the initial mix that I did of this had 2 guitars that are the main guitars. Then there's a third guitar that you had edited that came in at certain points to thicken things up. I'd cut that back farther and had it only coming in at the chorus lines. We added more of that in for this mix
The second half of the verse.
and turned it in. Yeah, so it comes in the second half of the verse now through the chorus part, and we raised that up in volume a little bit and put a little more reverb on the guitar overall in general because you wanted more of a big wall of sound.
Yep. That was
feel.
that was my main issue is the electric sound, the electricity, like kind of almost like static, like it's overloading a little bit. Is I wanted that, like the shitty mic I think you referenced a while ago when you were trying to mix it. I was like, hang on, don't clean it up. It's got to be a little sparky, but it was missing the playing in a big empty room.
Right.
You know, and I think that's back. It's got that back.
And then another thing I had done in the mix was have the main guitars drop out quite a bit during the bridge there. and both of you guys were like that. It kind of drops out too much, so we raised that back up and actually brought that bridge clean guitar down a little bit in that section. So now it's kind of more of a smooth transition through there.
It feels more like a part of the song now. Before, my comment was it felt superimposed. And
and I was trying to separate the parts too much, I think.
Add dynamics.
And I think you guys were right to have that walked back a bit.
So you don't want that guitar thing, which is the struggle, right? It's like, earlier you commented there was a mistake in the second guitar part, and you were like, I want to take that out and I want to fix it.
Still don't love that.
But listen, here's why I want to leave it. The reason I think it needs to stay is because the song's about frustration, and frustration isn't, you don't play perfectly.
And I am
when
frustrated
you're frustrated
right now
that
you wanted to leave a bad note.
Well,
I'm
here's the
comfortable
thing
with it.
Here's the thing from my viewpoint, and I've grown a lot with this song, or this song, I guess, has grown a lot with me.
He's a real boy.
I'm to the point now when I hear the song, I immediately click to the visual that we talked about. This is a guy with tremendous heartbreak who's playing to an empty room, and he's pouring his guts out to nobody. And that's not going to be a perfect performance.
Right.
So, like,
he's going to
note,
miss
like,
a couple
whatever,
notes.
matter.
And it's a very cinematic song. It's very visual. And I do get that idea. This guy's frustrated. He doesn't give a shit what he's playing. He's playing.
We've talked recently about how, Brad, you in your songwriting really take things like that into consideration when you're crafting a song. You're like, the feeling and emotion of it matter more than
the performance.
Yeah.
If I nail, or I play a guitar solo, or if I'm playing a guitar part, and the feeling of it and the vibe of it fits the song, and if I were to play it 10 times after that perfectly, but I didn't capture that energy, I would just as soon not.
Right.
And that's kind of where that is with that second guitar part. And there's no way I would ever try in a million years to try to recapture whatever the fuck I did that day.
Yeah.
I don't have that guitar. I don't, it was the first day with that sun, and I think it's fucked up.
Amplifier.
Yeah, that amp, concert lead, I think it is. And that microphone is obviously terrible.
It's like
right?
missing the whole top
it's
of it.
missing the
right?
whole top of it. It's like if you listen to it, it sounds distorted, and it added so much to that song. It's the only song I ever mic'd the amp on, and I was just trying something that day, and those were both first take guitars.
Yeah.
Like I just played them, and I think that's the way it needs to be. I think it needs to be a little wrong,
Right.
Because there's pressure there.
And it's funny how simple of a song this was, the way it was recorded. There were 3 guitar tracks and a main vocal and a handful of background vocals, and that's it.
Yeah.
And we've wrestled with it
Yeah,
for a while,
it's the
right?
smallest. It's the smallest file I think you've had to deal with in a long time.
It's another example of a point all three of us have made on this show is restraint is difficult. It's what you don't put there. And I got to imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you're mixing this, because you are so perfection focused in mixing, it's got to be hard to hear a wrong note.
Well, I had taken it out,
Yeah.
and it wasn't until you guys were here today where we added that stuff back in, and I said, that's a bad note. And you guys didn't even notice it at first.
Right.
And then I pointed it out. I'm like, listen, it's a bad
thanks a
note.
lot.
And Brad says, leave it in there. And my first reaction is like, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's
Right.
so dumb.
Right.
Like, I would never do that.
Well, you're striving for the most perfect thing it can be.
Yeah.
Right.
And I
But
still don't like it because I'm going to hear it every time.
Yeah.
But
We're going to blame it
proof,
on you.
Most people aren't because you guys didn't even
No,
notice it at first.
but that's one thing. Like I said, that's one part. And then part of me wants people to hear it. Like part of me just wants them to know that this isn't, you're not listening to an overly produced, perfect rendition of a song. You're listening to something that is really
Raw.
And it's almost live. Like I said, like the reason this song sat in a file for whatever 6
This-
8 years.
Would be a really great song to play live. Actually.
Yeah, but the reason it sat in a file for so long is because I didn't have a lot of respect for it. And why have I told you guys?
Here we go again.
Well, why have I told you I don't have a lot of respect for things
You
sometimes?
didn't take a lot of time
because they
with
don't
it.
take a lot of time. So I just let it sit there. But now,
But
thanks to you, big testament to you is you need to harvest this thing and we can make it something.
Yeah, 'cause
we didn't
when we
do
were sitting
we didn't
up-
do shit to it, but I love this song.
yeah, I didn't do a lot with the mix, and it's funny. That was my initial point. Like the song is so simple, and I didn't really do a lot. But
And you're
even
wondering
doing
why I
a
don't
little
like it.
changes it so much.
Yeah, you're-
so it was a struggle to do as little as we can as possible,
Mm-hmm.
but retain the initial vibe while trying to make it sound better.
Right. And I think that's where we landed. Like we
Yeah.
landed in this compromised
I
area.
think I
It's-
overcorrected at
yeah,
first and did
it's-
too much.
Yes. Yes. Because
Yeah,
you were trying to make it something that,
That
it wasn't meant to
right,
be.
right.
Yep.
We
Yeah.
need to make this sound better, but it's not supposed to sound
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly. This is just it's not like loose isn't the right
And
term.
that's not to say that it didn't need to sound like the song needed to sound better in certain ways.
It needs to sound good.
like yeah,
Yeah.
but
just not
without sounding like we did anything
right.
to it.
That's
Yeah.
the art. Right? The art is to make it sound like you didn't give a shit.
Yeah,
Right. That's how I get my makeup free look.
Right. Right. But that's the hardest thing to do. That's kind of what you're saying, right, Patrick? Is like it's hard to look like you didn't touch it.
Well, it was like our everyday episode you had commented on. It's like a really simple song.
Yep.
And sometimes it's hard to achieve
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
With the restraint not to put
We could have
stuff
we could
everywhere.
have bells and whistled
Yeah,
that thing
absolutely.
to death.
Yeah.
You know, but it was taking it out and making sure like, okay, this is what is it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a daily affirmation at the end of the day.
Right.
You know, like let's simplify it.
Yeah.
So that's where I think we got that's the point I think we got to on this song. And I think all of that effort we wouldn't have been able to get to where we needed to be if you didn't just strip it right down and pull it back. It would have been too much. You know?
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been what it is now if you hadn't flipped it on its head and done a complete 180 with it. So the fact that you did it isn't bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's never bad.
We
It's
found out what it didn't need to be.
exactly right. Like we figured out that, okay, like man, that's too much.
Right.
We need to get it back to where it wants to be with.
Yeah, this song was one,
its
and I know we
weight.
commented on it right when we initially listened to it. Like this song was working on a very primal level.
Yeah. Mhm.
Like,
Yep.
and so it didn't need a lot. We needed to find that fine balance of what was going to enhance it without making it sound like
Right.
we did stuff to
And
it.
that-
So
that's-
hopefully we achieved
That's
that.
where I think we're at. I think we hit the spot. I think it
Cool.
sounds great.
So
Glad to get it on Spotify, Uzi Royal,
at Uzi Royal,
Boom.
at Spotify, iTunes,
iTunes,
Deezer,
Get it
whatever
out there.
shit
Yeah.
people listen to. I don't know.
Skeezer, Deezer, LimeWire.
You Dave.
Yeah,
dot
yeah,
music.
you Dave.
Plentyoffish.com.
So, yeah.
Oh man, is Uncle Dave on Plenty of Fish?
Uncle Dave.
Good God.
Uncle Dave has 6 accounts
Oh
on
my
Plenty
God,
of Fish.
I think he's just looking.
Yep.
You know, looking ain't cooking, Uncle Dave.
I think we're ready to wrap this episode
Sweatpants
up.
for you, 94
Yeah, right.
is Uncle Dave's
Treasurebutts.com.
He's looking for his match.
for the sweatpants
Yeah,
are for a
that's
lady.
right, I got you. Oh God.
Shut up, Dave.
All right, let's get out of here.
Right
Thank
on.
you so much for listening. Please, if you enjoy the show, leave us a rating and a review.
And we get it. Nobody wants to fill the you don't want to have
Nobody
a
wants to leave a
name for
review.
life on Apple.
Yeah.
You got to come up with it's stressful.
And
Here's the thing. We know they're ducking out of work for at least 10 minutes to poop, even though they're done pooping for 5 minutes.
just leave it while you're
Yeah,
pooping.
leave it while you're pooping. The rest of the time,
What else are you gonna do? Light toilet paper on
you'd
fire?
be carving in some limerick. Yeah, you'd be carving in some limerick on the paint in the stall.
Right.
Instead, leave a review.
I think sometimes people think like, well, I need to have this great thing to say. No. It could
We
literally
don't.
be
No.
cool podcast.
Yeah, cool podcast.
And it would mean so much to us because that's how we start to show up on lists and charts.
Right.
The more reviews we get. So please leave us a review. We'd greatly appreciate it. And we thank everybody who has already done so. check us out on Instagram. We're there all week posting stuff and having fun and finding new friends, and we hope to see you there. Reach out, leave us a message with any suggestions or comments on the show. BS at belongingsongs.com. I almost forgot our email.
And please leave comments, even if you don't love the show. We'd love to just hear how we can be better. It's about getting better.
Let us know why. And check out our website, belongingsongs.com. There you can
pick
hear
me apart, guys. I mean, this is it. This is I'm peaking here. This is where I'm going to land in life.
If you have any suggestions for how Brad can better himself, leave us a message at ps at Belonging Songs.
And our website is belongingsongs.com. There you can hear all the before and after versions of these songs. And that's a fun thing. We're posting those every week.
Yeah.
And we hope to see you again here next week. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, it's good. Boom, done. Next.